A student does 2 test tube reactions on 4 colourless solutions A, B, C and D. Table 4 shows the student's observations. So they're adding sodium carbonate solid, and sodium carbonate, we need to remember in our test tube reactions, is a test for acid. So sodium carbonate is going to effervesce with anything containing hydrogen ions, so effervesce with acid, and acidified silver nitrate is going to test for X- halide ions. A white precipitate is usually AgCl. A yellow precipitate could be AgI, or it depends on how pale yellow it is. Maybe it is a mixture of AgBr, AgCl, it could be some other things, but yellow is usually AgI. So identify the gas. Well, carbonates release carbon dioxide. And how could you test to confirm the identity? Well, that's from our GCSE knowledge. We're going to bubble through lime water. And we will see a white precipitate will form. If you've written lime water will turn cloudy, they will allow that, but it's better to say a white precipitate. We're getting calcium carbonate forming. Explain how the observations for test 1 and test 2 can be used to show that solution B contains hydrochloric acid. So effervescence with Na2CO3 shows presence of H+ ions. And then our white precipitate with AgNO3 shows presence of Cl- ions. Hence we're getting HCl. Describe a series of tests the student can use to show that C contains ammonium, so that's NH4, that's 1+ ions, sulfate, SO4 2-. So how? Describe a series of tests that we can show that solution C contains ammonium sulfate ions. So it didn't give any changes with the 2 tests we did. So what other tests could we use? So what is the test for an ammonium ion? So the first test is we're going to add NaOH, that's our test, and warm the solution. And if this is ammonium ions, damp red litmus paper held in the mouth of the test tube, so at the top, not into the solution, will turn blue, and that proves that we've made ammonia gas, and therefore we had ammonium ions. Make sure that you don't say the litmus paper is in the solution though, because obviously sodium hydroxide is going to turn litmus paper blue, and we're not doing that. We're trying to test for the gas given off. How are we going to test for the sulfate ions? We're going to add acidified barium chloride solution. A white precipitate will form if we've got our sulfate ions. The student does an additional experiment to show that solution D contained a mixture of halide ions. So we think that one of them is chloride, but it was pale yellow, so we think that one of them might be iodide. So we added an excess of the silver nitrate to the solution, and we filtered, washed and dried and weighed the precipitate. We then added dilute ammonia and filter, wash and dry and weigh the solid that remains. Explain how the masses recorded can be used to show that the mixture contains a mixture of halide ions. Well, if one of them's chloride, this would dissolve the AgCl and just leave behind any other precipitates that were formed. So this second mass would be smaller because you've removed AgCl precipitate. This first mass, given that it was pale yellow, is likely to be AgCl and AgI, and this second mass is just going to be AgI, and so the second mass would be smaller than the first mass. So the second mass would be smaller than the first. AgCl solid dissolves in dilute ammonia. In step 3.